Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Saints Network podcast, where I know what everyone's thinking. Why is the better-looking younger brother presenting the show tonight? We'll get onto that in a minute. But welcome back to your usual weekly dose of Southampton content. Little bit of admin to get first. If my assistant could please press the button. Please click the like button, guys. It's absolutely free if you enjoy the content. Hit subscribe as well, and obviously hit the bell notification icon if you want to be notified every single time we go live, which hopefully in the new season will be more often than just Sundays. Maybe. Obviously, we got 2 games to cover. I'm not going to lie, Liam has pretty much absolutely no idea what happened at the game yesterday. Yeah. So that'll all be on me. We probably won't be talking about that.
Fully understand what's happened this weekend, quite frankly.
No, exactly. We'll get onto that and why in a minute. But the reason that I'm doing this is because I thought I'd be really clever. And in our Discord and to Liam on Tuesday night when we were 3-0 down, I said, if we win this, I'll present the show. I won't present the show, but I'll do the intro.
You'll do the intro,
I'll do the
which
intro.
You were dreading, to be fair.
Which I was dreading. And then Southampton decided to do something which we've not done in our 141-year history and pull a game back from 3-0 down.
So you guys, of course, at this point already know the result from Tuesday and from yesterday, for that matter. 2 games against the Foxes. And thank you for the person in chat, Garsty, who I put the Tigers treble because I was Leicester Tigers because I'm so tired. And he was like, oh, he's so tired, I'll let him off between the difference between Tigers and Foxes. And I've changed it now, the Foxes treble, which doesn't sound as good. I like alliteration, but you know. And so you guys know the result by now. So on Tuesday night, I was here producing a show for my other channel. And I had the score on my phone. Obviously, we went 3-0 down in the first half. We will dive into the game in a bit more detail, of course. And then we got to 3-2 on the because we were messaging each other. We always do during the games if we're not watching together. And at 3-2, I said, come back on. And he went, it's no good if we don't score an equaliser. We then scored the equaliser. And I was like, Ash. And he went, if we win this, I'll do the intro. And I screenshotted it and stuck it straight in Discord.
To be fair, I said it in Discord when we were 3-0 down. Just because it's just never happened.
It's never happened. So anyway, that's why he's done the intro today. Yeah, great job.
Thanks.
It's not that bad, is it?
Thanks. I might need to go and change my underwear now.
It's not that bad. That was as good as it gets, pretty much, for a first time. So, you know, you should hold your head up proud.
The only thing I haven't done is talked about memberships and stuff, but I'll leave that to you.
Yeah.
You're the salesperson.
He's told you to like and subscribe this because it's free and it supports us, and that's amazing. What he hasn't told you to do is if you really want to support the show, you want to support the podcast, you want to support more content in the future and the growth of the show, the way you can do that is by financially supporting us. You don't have to. There's no requirement to, but it does help us.
I'll leave that to you.
Yeah.
You're the salesperson.
He's told.
That's awkward, isn't it?
Fucked it, right?
I screwed that straight away.
So what you can do if you want is you can financially support the channel. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can become a member, which is one of the best ways. If you become a member of the channel, you get a little green name in chat, a little logo next to your name as well. You get extra space in Discord, but more importantly, you financially support us. We don't run too many ads. We don't do sponsored content at the moment. That's the only way we really make money is with members and super chats. If you are already a member and you want to support us further, you can also gift memberships. And that gives other people the option to have that, or the opportunity, I should say, to have that green name and to have that extra space in Discord. Or if you want to make a specific point about anything that's happened this last week with Southampton Football Club, or the wider football for that matter, you can stick it on what YouTube calls a super chat. One's literally just popped up in chat as we're talking. And that's where you pay money to have your message put on a big colourful, we like to call them postcards. I hate the word super chat. It's very American. We like to call them postcards. You can stick on a postcard. And what we do is every postcard that you've paid for, at the end of the show, we will read them and we will get through them. So I promise you, if you super chatted, we will be talking about your point at the end of the show. We don't miss any of those on purpose because you've paid to have us talk about what you want us to talk about. So anyway, as we were saying, Tuesday. So we actually, not just Tuesday this week, we've played Leicester twice this week, once at home, once away. And as it says in the title, we have in fact done the trouble over the Tigers. Foxes. Because we beat them early in the season 3-0. Actually, in fact, we've put 9 goals past them in 3 games, which is quite impressive, I think, considering, although they did that to us in 1 game. But yeah, we beat them earlier in the season at St Mary's in the league. We then went away. We went away to Leicester on Tuesday of this last week, and actually, it's quite often been a bit of a bogey game for us in the past.
We've won there once, I think.
Yeah,
just the once. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was. And I'll be honest with you, we say this every week, right? We look at the lineup and you instantly get a feel for how you feel about what might happen after kickoff. And we both were like Archer in the starting lineup. An interesting technique or tactic. We've finally got people that can play those long balls. We've finally got a target man we can aim at. Archer. We've got 2 target men strictly we can aim at. And it's fair to say, utterly woeful.
I think that's a theme for the week, to be fair.
For the week?
So
Archer for the week?
We were told by Tonda Eckert that the reason why Archer started is because Ross Stewart couldn't start and Carl Laren couldn't start, which I would almost understand if Ross Stewart didn't play 45 minutes in the second half because they could manage 45 minutes. So he started Archer, and I've always been quite a staunch defender of Cameron Archer, but this week I can't defend him. So he missed a sitter within 50 seconds. Cienza's put a ball across the box and he's flashed it over. To be fair, he snatched it in. Obviously, we know that Cameron Archer is a confidence player, but he isn't the right player to play in this formation. He can't relieve pressure. He can't hold the ball up. He's also not someone who is, for some reason, he doesn't do what he can do, which is run the channels. And I'll get onto yesterday's game in a minute, but we were dreadful first half, and there was some standout performances for the wrong reasons. I think that Archer is one. I think Casper Yander is another. Tom Fellows is definitely another.
Negatively, yeah.
I think they were having awful performances. I think that, oddly enough, I thought both centre-backs were okay.
Yeah, okay.
I thought Wellington was okay.
Let's be honest, the goals, though, they were quite shocking goals to concede. They were quite weak.
The first one seemed quite weak. Peretz gets a hand to it. The second one
is Archer's loose ball.
Yeah, and Tom Fellows has made a back pass, which Daka's obviously got past Peretz. And
I thought it was Archer's back pass.
No, it's Fellows. I don't think it was. People were pointing the fingers at Peretz, which I don't think they should have done, because what choice did he have? Sit on his goal line and let him run through and have a shot? No, he had to try and close it down. And then the third one, okay, Peretz has been meeting his near post, but Fataou's hit that quite nicely.
Yeah, so he's a left-footed player, Fatou, right? Normally, if I remember rightly, and I think Wellington was trying to show him onto his weaker foot, and he went, "I'll just hit it then."
And Fatou's got a record of scoring goals against us. He got a hat trick in that 5-0 win there a few years ago. He did well in the first half, and he was all over people, to be fair. But then we went at half-time 3-0 down, and I thought, well, that's for him a Tuesday night. What a load of rubbish that is. And I thought Tonda had just done his usual and got back to tinkering it too much. And it was just that one change.
Yeah.
It was Stewart out and it was Archer in. And I honestly thought he potentially would start Carl Laren after scoring against Watford.
Yeah. So that first half, utter woeful. And I think most of us as Saints fans looked at that and went, well, that's that game done. Because historically, typically, that's been the case, right? And to be fair to Tonda and the team for that matter, he made a bunch of changes. You said it yourself, right? Worst half ever you've written in here. And normally our heads would drop. And actually, especially over the course of the Premier League season and to some degree the start of this particular season, there's no recovering that normally as Saints. And what I think was the big positive I'm taking from Tuesday is the fact that we didn't just roll over and show our bellies, and we didn't end up conceding another one and finish a 6-7-0 embarrassment, which has happened in the past. He made a change. He brought Ross Stewart on. There was a couple of other changes that got made as well, didn't he?
He took off Fellows, he took off Yander, he brought on Shea Charles, and he brought on Matsky.
Yeah. And it made a difference.
We automatically looked like we had a bit more energy. And I think it's worth mentioning, in the first half, we still had periods where we looked. Obviously, Archer missed a chance early on. Taylor Harwood-Bellis had a header saved by Leicester in the first half, which was almost a shoe-in for a goal, to be fair, because I thought it was a great save from Begovic. And we had periods where we dominated the ball, but it was the usual. It was sideways, backwards. And then suddenly in the second half, Leicester potentially took their foot off the gas for a bit, but Ross Stewart gives you an outlet, and he gives you someone to hold the ball up, and he gives you someone who's going to potentially fight.
Just someone to target as well.
A target man up front who can bring the other guys into play. And the first goal comes almost out of nothing.
Yeah.
And I know I've written something quite rude in the notes.
Quite kind of like it's kind of like a weird. It was a cross from Leo, but it kind of wasn't really. It was a weird.
It's very similar, apart from Ross Stewart's finish is very, very good, but it's very similar to the Stewart goal against Hull. So who's just put it in there? Jamie's just put it in there, and he's right. Leicester played with a massive high press in the first half, and in the second half they stopped. Whether they were knackered, whether they've done it, but the minute that first goal goes in, you suddenly sense that the King Power was very, very nervous. And it sounds stupid, but we didn't score for another 22 minutes.
Yeah, Ash has written, bring Stewart on, he scores because he's not fucking shit. Was the words he wrote on the show notes.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. And I was raging because we had a few chances. I think Azaz had a chance, and there was a couple of sort of half chances. But he brought Ryan Manning on for Wellington, which at the time I was fuming because obviously Wellington is quite strong. And I thought it was Manning's come off, but Andy King, the Leicester manager, had taken off Mavididi, he'd taken off Patson Daka, he'd taken off Fatawu, so they had no outlet themselves. And he didn't bring Carl Larin. Oh, I can't talk. He didn't bring Carl Larin on until the 80th minute, and I was raging because he should have been on after. I think he should have been on earlier. But Larin has a massive hand in the second goal because he's the one that recycles the ball. It comes back out to Shea Charles. He passes it into Leo puts a cross in. It misses everyone. Manning does a great bit of work to keep it in. Begovic comes out and flaps it like a flipping seagull. And it drops to Jack Stevens, who just almost finishes it into the corner.
Well, I think all of us, when it drops to Jack Stevens' foot at that place, we're going, oh, for and he rifles it in the top corner.
And I was sat at home watching / listening, and my wife was next to me, and she was just sort of like, you're not going to do this, are you? And part of me was like, we could do, and part of me was like, I'm going to shit myself if I do an intro to the show.
Yeah.
And the nervousness around the King Power, and we know it, right? Because it's happened in St Mary's numerous times and loads of times, and we've seen it happen so many times. As someone said, there was a stat that I heard midweek, it's only been 3 times in the Championship as a team been 3-0 up and lost 4-3. We're one of them. So you can kind of see what's going on. I almost expected Leicester potentially go and do something, but then they sat so deep, and we get a corner.
Yeah.
And again, another Leo corner goes in. I think it's Stevens that knocks it on, flicks it on.
It's kind of a weird, like, miss stroke. Yeah.
And out of all the people that stood 2 yards out, it's Ryan Manning.
Yeah.
And I was like, that'll do.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
Yeah.
But what even epitomises where they were at this point, and Tonda says he didn't say much at half-time. It's like, well, fair play to him if he didn't. Ryan Manning runs to the corner, slides, gets up, hugs someone, and realises that the rest of the team have fucked off back to the halfway line. And I was like, they want to fucking win this.
Well, I think, most Saints fans at that point at 3-3 are probably thinking, we'll concede a fourth.
Yeah, 100%.
That's where you all go, right?
100%.
All that hard work, and we'll throw it away. But we didn't. There was another goal to go in. There was a 7th goal of the game to go in, and it was interesting because it was the 96th, 7th minute, and the ball gets played up long. Shea Charles, to be fair, a bit of wrestling, battles to win the ball.
Yeah,
wins the ball, plays it into the box to Stewart, who then lays it off for him, and with his weak foot bends a worldie into the corner.
I've just realised what I've written. I wrote this as it happened.
Yeah, so Ash normally updates the show notes live during the game, and what he wrote was, what the fuck happened there? Shea Charles with a worldie, 4-3 up the Saints, fuck off Leicester with your we want 9, enjoy League One. That's word for word what he wrote on the show notes, chat. So you must have been pretty excited at that point.
I was quite animated. Just because, and do you know what? We've been critical of the team for a long time about team spirit, about fight, about everything, and I don't want to sound like we're talking like broken records, but it seems to coincide perfectly with 4 at the back and the right personnel changes. Now we'll talk about yesterday in a minute because yesterday was not going to touch on the cup game too much. I don't need to.
No one cares about the cup really. I mean, and the attendance shows that no one really cares about the cup.
No, but there's still some positives from it which I want to cover.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
But for a team that normally folds and talk like a load of idiots, like you talk, we're really disappointed, all this sort of stuff. Someone said in our Discord, does it potentially prove that maybe Adam Armstrong was one of the bad apples in the dressing room?
I mean,
I'm not saying he was. I'm saying potentially.
I think it'd be a stretch to suggest that just losing Armstrong it would create such an attitude change in a dressing room. It might have helped. It might be that he was a bad apple. I don't think the way that team was and the way that their heads dropped can be typically attributed to a single person. I think that'd be unfair.
It was just nice to see us do something. And do you know what? We've been very critical of Tonda, rightly so, in the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks. But it's almost like, apart from the first half, obviously, tactically, the second half, not tactically, you got the changes right at the right time. And to be able to be the ones on the end of that one, and everyone saying, "Oh wow, Southampton done that," and the videos and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's nice to be the team that's the positive in that news story for a change.
I got angry when I sat there listening to Leicester fans going, "We want 9." It's like, yeah, bore off. You get over it, lads. And then to hear them, I think someone did a video. It might have even been Saints admin actually, and they were like, "This is the stadium on minute 1," because they also did your favourite. So they only had about 19,000 people there. Obviously, stadium's the same as ours. And they did an amazing light show before the start of the game. So everyone was obviously interested by that. Maybe that's what put the players off. They were interested in that in the first half.
It fucks me off, that. It's fucking football. We're there to watch football, not bullshit stadium light shows. Really annoys me.
But the celebrations at the end, when that goal goes in, let's be honest, guys, it was a fantastic finish.
That has to be, I think, especially when that goal goes in with Shea Charles and they run over to the Saints fans. If you haven't seen this on replay, watch it. Because I think that I haven't seen a level of togetherness in a squad like that or a team like that from us for a very long time.
We haven't seen that togetherness from them this season, really.
We haven't seen it this season. We definitely didn't see it last season. I don't think we've witnessed that before. So, you know, I absolutely believe that that's the most together they've seen. The way they were celebrating together, the way they celebrated with the fans. And you know, you said it here yourself. It's the first time this has happened in our competitive history. 141
years.
141 years. We've never, Saints as a football club in professional matches have never gone 3-0 down and then won 4-1 in a competitive league game.
It's also the first time away from home that we've had 3 substitutes score.
Is it? Yeah. I wouldn't mind betting that's a statistic that's not all that common either for a lot of teams.
No, so obviously Ryan Manning, Ross Stewart and Shea Charles scored.
Yeah. What a game. There's that horrible cliche, isn't there, that football's a game of 2 halves.
Literally was that. That's the perfect advert for it.
But it is. You know, I know I don't love using cliches, but it's such an accurate description of Tuesday, because that first half, most Saints fans and probably the team themselves would like to forget. And I think that, like I said, I think it shows unbelievable character to have a first half that they are definitely going to want to forget, and to come out in the second half and do what they did.
Also, though, just very quickly, because obviously it was Shea Charles' first league goal against Leicester. Would anyone have put money on him being the one to bend one in the corner in 96th minute with his left foot?
I think with the way that Flynn has been playing lately, and I think with the way that Yander plays for the most part, and granted he was having a bad game on Tuesday, I think Tonda's got a real nice headache in the middle of the park.
Well, he's got an even bigger headache after yesterday.
Because of Cam Bragg?
Not just Cam Bragg. Okay. We'll get onto that.
So, I think he's got a real lovely headache, because I think there is an argument for all 3 of those definitely starting. And I'm a big advocate for Shea Charles. I think Shea Charles is an excellent player. I think he's an excellent player.
Agreed.
I was, for the longest time, advocating for Shea Charles and Kasper Yander to be playing in central midfield. But before this last week, the games I've seen Flynn been playing recently, I thought he's been excellent as well. So, it was just nice, you know. If you've got opinions, chat on anything, feel free to stick them in the comments. I've been reading through. One thing that's been quite interesting for what people have been saying whilst we've been talking about that particular game is the crowd's attitude and actions towards Archer.
That's from yesterday.
Was that yesterday specifically? Was it?
Again,
okay.
We'll get onto that.
We'll bring that up in a minute. Have you put it in here?
I haven't actually, okay. But
I saw them talking about it, and I knew that it was on social media. I didn't know what game it came from directly. But 3 more points in the bag. Now, touching distance to the playoffs.
We are 10th. We are 2 points behind the playoffs, I think. I did have it up. Yes, we are 2 points behind the playoffs.
Yeah.
With 2 home games coming up.
which are winnable home games. Let's be honest.
Yes.
I mean, and that's the thing with this league, isn't it? Everything in the league is a winnable game.
It is all a winnable game, and you've seen some stupid results. So Blackburn won at QPR yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. It's just results going mad everywhere.
What a result it was. Chat, it was incredible. If you were there, I'm sure you had a wonderful... I was actually, at half-time, I was like, Jesus Christ, I've been so pissed off if I've gone to Leicester. At the end of the game, I was just jealous of everybody that was there.
And there were people that left at half-time.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Yes.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear.
Someone that I know left at half-time, and you think, And he said to me, when the fourth goal went in, they were already an hour or so down the road, and you think to yourself, was it worth it, lads?
Yeah, don't leave.
You got an early night, though. It's fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly what you want.
What a turnaround. What a result. That's got to be positive for us. That's another win. And like Ash says, we've dropped 2 points in total from our time playing 4 at the back.
Got 13 points in from 15 playing forward back.
13 from 15.
Under Tonda, because I'm aware.
It's almost like we knew, again, I think all 125 of you in the chat can believe us now when we say the club's obviously watching the show, and secretly we're kind of managing the club.
Yeah, 100%.
Because then what happened is on Saturday we hosted Leicester in the FA Cup, which I'm kind of sad about the FA Cup, if I'm honest with you. And I don't know how you feel about the FA Cup right now. But I feel like growing up as a kid, and maybe this is just me misremembering, maybe this is nostalgia, but I feel like growing up as a kid, I was very excited for the FA Cup because it was a chance for my club, who were never going to win the league, to potentially win something. And actually, in 2003, we obviously went to the Millennium Stadium and watched them in the FA Cup final against Arsenal, where they lost 1-0 to that Perez goal. But we saw them in a cup final as a club that's never going to win the league, really. Let's be real. So I always thought the FA Cup was wonderful, and they always called it the magic of the cup. And I'm the same with international football, actually. As a youngster, I loved watching England play. I remember watching them play in the World Cup when we were in France. Yeah. And nowadays, if it's not... And I don't know if it's just me, Chad. I'd love to know what you guys think. I'd love to know if you guys have this same kind of experience. But for me right now, if it's not the league, I don't give a shit. I don't care about the FA Cup. I don't care about the League Cup, whatever that's called nowadays. I don't care about international football.
That's good, as we're covering the World Cup this summer.
I don't care. And I'll cover it if it's content, but I just don't care.
No, look, the FA Cup's lost its magic. It has, to a degree, because top teams put out weaker sides, and I mean, this week it's been absolutely fucked because TNT Sports have had it, and obviously the FA Cup used to be Saturday, and you have loads of results coming in. And now it's like starts on like Thursday night, and then it's Friday night, and there was even a game like 8:15 yesterday. It's an absolute travesty what they've done to it. But obviously, it's been since the Premier League has come in and the money's been pumped into the Premier League, etc., and that's where it's come from. It is never, we don't have replays anymore. We don't have...
Sassy Saint says, and I couldn't agree with this more, the FA Cup is a shadow of its former self. Exactly. I 100% agree with that.
Draws used to be at 2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, and now it's on flipping TNT Sports, or it's on the One Show. And it's like with the World Cup and stuff like that, a lot of people start paying attention when you get to the sort of quarterfinals, semi-finals. And it's almost ridiculous to the point of it. And there's a point, I think I saw someone in the chat, might have been Star Pilot, has said, let me find it, should clubs to a degree listen to the fans? And I think that's a different conversation altogether, because I think clubs are going to have to start realising that fan channels are a thing. But yeah, these sort of competitions need to start listening. And we're not going to go and talk in the FA Cup in detail, but for example, those who would have watched the Villa versus Newcastle game yesterday would realise that VAR has ruined it, because there was no VAR in that game, and the referees were dreadful because they were all heavily reliant on VAR. There's going to get to a point where they need to stop it. But, Macclesfield, the biggest success story of round 3, knocking out the holders, Crystal Palace. When do they play? Tomorrow night, after the draw. And they play Brentford at home. You're like, okay, so you're probably going to get a good TV audience, but fuck off. 3 o'clock on a Saturday is when football should be played. Not fucking 12:30 kickoffs, not 8:15 on a flipping Saturday night.
Agree.
What genius did that?
And I think what's happened with the FA Cup is it's become about money again, like football has.
But it's not just that.
And we missed, like, you would have lower league clubs who would battle like hell to get a draw because they didn't know if they could win, but if they got a draw, it meant they would get a return fixture and make bank off that return fixture. We don't do replays anymore, and the majority of teams, even if you look at the lineup from yesterday, the majority of teams just don't seem to care now. And someone said, all we won in this FA Cup fixture was another fixture, which when we're in a jam-packed fixture anyway is a problem. That being said, what I will say is when I look at the cup, and I genuinely don't care about the cup anymore. I used to think it was magical. Garsty said in the chat a minute ago, the magic of the cup nowadays just means a small team might beat a big team. It used to be that teams could go on. And, anyway, it is what it is. I don't like it. I don't love it. But what I will say is I do look at the fixture and I think to myself, do I want to win or lose that game? Sounds awful to say, do I want to lose that game? But I've said this before on the show, and hear me out. If we're playing a Leicester City in the FA Cup, I want to win that game because momentum. Because we should be beating those teams. We should be beating teams in our league, right? Especially whilst we're playing in the Championship. If we'd have drawn an Arsenal and they'd have beaten us 2-0, I think most people would have gone, when we played Arsenal. So we kind of expected to lose. So it doesn't become a morale crusher. If we'd have played Leicester yesterday and got spanked 5-0, that becomes a morale crusher, right? Yeah. So I think that to some degree, what I do is I do look at those teams and go, we should beat those, so I actually want to win, or we can't typically beat those. At that point, I want to lose, and I want to lose simply because it knocks us out of this extra rotation of fixtures that we really don't need, because the fixture list is heavy enough as it is in the Championship.
We've got another 8 games before the 21st of March.
Yeah, it's honestly... Hey-ho. Anyway, so the cup game yesterday, what they did do, again, I talked about this, listening to the podcast, they clearly listened. We whinged previously about cup price tickets, and they've changed those ticket prices. So it went to £10 for adults, £5 for children.
Yep, plus the booking
fees. Right, if you are watching, can we fuck off this stupid booking fee thing, right? Why on earth am I paying a £1 booking fee to go onto your website, £1.50 booking fee, to go onto your website, to select a seat using the website, not a person, to then pay for it using my card transaction and receive my ticket digitally in my ticket app? What the fuck am I paying a £1.50 booking fee for?
It wouldn't even bother me that, but it's when they say tickets from £10. Well, they're fucking not, because I've got to pay a booking fee.
It's unreal. Nonsense. It's clearly not... If you were hiring ticket staff, if you were shipping tickets out to people, okay, maybe. Ridiculous. It's this archaic thing that we haven't lost, where we just claim another £1.50 on every ticket price, and we go, tickets from a tenner or tickets from 30 quid, but they're not. You'll pay a fucking booking fee. On each ticket is... Anyway...
That's the rant, people. That's the rant.
It's just ridiculous. And the amount of other teams you talk to and other clubs, and they talk, the booking, what's this booking fee nonsense? We don't pay that.
Yeah, I know.
Why are we? We do it all online now. Anyway, they did at least change the ticket prices to £10 for adults, £5 for children. I think that's the right way of doing it, especially when it's a cup game no one cares about. In fact, attendance was only still 17,000 yesterday at St Mary's, so it worked to some degree, but the chapel stand was still closed. The beauty of it was, Ash, for example, took both of his kids. How much did it cost you for the 3 tickets?
£24.50.
So 2 young people who want to get into football and enjoy watching Saints, and he was able to take the 3 of them to go and watch the football for less than the price of an adult ticket at a league game. I think the club should be applauded for that.
Yep.
As much as I'm annoyed about the booking fee thing, I think the club should be applauded for that. That's the right move, at least. And it's a way of potentially getting younger people into the stadium for an opportunity to watch some of their favourite players, which I think is good. However, the lineup was an utter decimation of what we saw in the league, which I'm not massively surprised at. 9 changes, I think it was.
10 changes.
10 changes.
Yes.
Hang on, I don't know the banter here. 10 changes and a team sheet released on time.
Oh, yes, completely forgot about this. So those people who will know, obviously know that the laws changed at the start of the season. For Championship team sheets, you can release the team sheet 75 minutes before the start of the game. So normally for a 3 o'clock kickoff, 1:45, we stood outside the stadium, waiting for Ian to turn up because he's never there at 2 o'clock. Just making it known. And you can see the team sheet. Now, with the FA Cup, it's different. With the FA Cup, it's an hour.
Oh, okay.
Release team sheet an hour. However, Leicester's admin yesterday, 1:45. And Alfie House of Daily Echo was the one who retweeted it, which is what I saw it for, and he just said, what an absolute mess this club is in right now, because they can't even get that right. So we had 15 minutes extra to know exactly what they were playing.
So now I'm going to kind of have to hand over to you here, because I have seen the goals. I've seen nothing else.
Why don't you... I think he's going to get that in a minute, so I got a splinter in my finger and it really hurts. So we did 10 changes. The only person who retained his place was Cameron Archer, the prolific Cameron Archer. Yeah, so George Long came into goal, which I think some people were quite surprised at. Elias Gillett, Nathan Wood, Joshua Kwashi, and Ryan Manning made up the back four. Cameron Bragg started in midfield alongside Oriol Romeu, which was a very big surprise considering that he'd not been anywhere near the under-21s.
Oh, he's alive.
Madski started with a Dozy on the wings, and we had Cameron Archer and Kyle Larin up front. And the first half was absolutely boring. It was a snooze fest. Nothing happened. I think George Long made 1-2 half-decent saves. Some players passed it about a bit. Someone did a bit of running. Someone fell over.
Okay.
My daughter kept on changing seats, which was probably the most interesting part of the game. And then in stoppage time, Sam Adozi won the ball back up the pitch, went on a dozen, beat 2 players, got the ball back, beat another player, went in the box, got fouled. Penalty.
Was it a penalty, do you think?
I think yes. Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, chat, please tell me if you think otherwise, but I think it was a penalty. And Kyle Larin stepped up and took it. In better, I've seen it. Kyle Larin stood up and took it because obviously we weren't going to give it to Cameron Archer.
I think it's a difficult one, isn't it, that one? I can see the reason for starting Archer. I can. I know he had a howler against Leicester a few days previously. Cup game, they're putting a weaker side out. I can see the point in giving him a run to try and build him some confidence.
He also started up front alongside Kyle Larin. The problem that I have with him, and he was awful yesterday, and we'll get on to the second half in a minute, but the problem that I had with him is that he has to play off the last man, and he still wasn't doing that yesterday. And whilst everyone was running and fighting, especially towards the second half, he still wasn't. He was still walking. And I will talk for Ian because obviously he can't talk for himself now, but
he's in chat.
Hi Ian. He was getting so angry about what Cameron Archer wasn't doing. He wasn't running. He wasn't fighting. He wasn't battling. And like I said, I've been a defender of Archer, but I think it got to the point where he's done now.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit as well, because this is now what I was alluding to earlier. The chat were talking about it. I didn't realise it was yesterday's game. I thought it was Tuesday's game. I've had a horrifically busy week this week, chat. So I apologise, but I have this weekend launched a brand new business down here in Southampton, and I've done since Tuesday. I think I've done a 70-hour working week. So I haven't had the time or capacity to keep up with the football. But I had heard on social media that there was negativity around, I was doing a bit of skimming before the show, around Cameron Archer, specifically being booed whilst on the pitch and a cheer happening when he got substituted. So you were there for it?
I didn't hear any boos when he was off the pitch, but I heard the cheer when he got taken off. But so let me get to that, because half-time happened, there was no changes. We came out in the second half.
Very quickly, Larin's penalty, decent penalty? I've not seen that one.
Good penalty. Very odd run-up, almost a slow sort of canter to take it, and then smash it in the bottom left-hand corner.
We've had problems with penalties this season, haven't we?
Yes. And apparently, I think it's Alison has just said, she just said that he's got a bad history of penalties, apparently. So 1 from 1 here, two goals and 2, a goal in his full debut for Southampton. So that's a good start. So you know, it was good from that aspect. We went in half time. It was our first shot on target. We'd had a couple of half-assed shots, but nothing really going. And like I said, the first half was boring. Second half comes out. Leicester get a goal back. So Oliver Skipp, the vastly experienced Oliver Skipp, scored an overhead kick.
Yeah, I saw that. Questions on the goalkeeper for that one?
Questions on the goalkeeper, but I think when you realise George Long has played like nothing in the last 3 years, and you could potentially forgive it. If we'd have lost the game, we'd thrown things at him. But I think he should do better, to be fair. And we've done. You would then expect the game to go in the matter that it did. So they brought on Harry Winks, they brought on Patson Daka, they brought on Ricardo Pereira, they brought on Luke Thomas. They had so many experienced players come onto the pitch, whereas we went completely the opposite way. We went and we brought on... so Finn Azaz did come on, to be fair, but the first change was Barnaby Williams coming on, Joe Brian Whitmarsh came on, Nicholas Okunle came on, and it was just... The energy there was one player that did come on. I'm gonna butcher his name now. Safiana Silla Dibaga came on for Samadozi.
Sounds like you did a better job than I would have done.
Yeah. And when he came off, they took off what's the face? They took off Samadozi, and I was spitting feathers. He was our most attacking player. He's our most threatening player, and I thought we've thrown this game away. And Leicester finished the game stronger. We didn't really have any chances, but they finished the game much stronger than we did. When Cameron Archer got taken off, there was a cheer. Not by me, I would admit. I'm not a fan of admitting cheering. We did it with Damien Downs and stuff like that, but just beforehand, it went out for a corner, but Cameron Archer had, who was it? Matsky had cut inside, had a shot, and the ball had bounced out to Cameron Archer. He has to bury it. He's 2 yards out. He has to bury it, and he still doesn't. Now, people say, oh, it got deflected, etc. He should never have got to that position, and his performance was frustrating, to be put the least, because he was the only player, and chat, please believe me if I'm wrong. By the way, 141 people, only 142 people, only 42 likes. It's free, guys.
I'll press it again.
Press it again. Thank you.
Oh, it doesn't do anything.
It's not working. Yeah. Technology's rubbish. He was the only one for me that I felt wasn't playing. So Romeo played and he came off after an hour. He looked unfit. Still looked unfit. But he was still battling. He was still winning tackles. He was still sort of calm and composed. There was a few moments where it was a bit hairy, but you're playing a team that hasn't played together, and so it's going to be dodgy and all that sort of stuff. We then go into extra time, and as I said, Leicester were playing. They had Daka on, they had Fatu on, they had Winks on, they had Skip on, and they were the better team. They were running the play. But every time we went forward with energy. Cameron Bragg was a height above everyone else. Still, he's playing up against Oliver Skip, who played however many games for Spurs and scored Premier League goals, up against 90 grand a week Harry Winks with England caps and vast experience at Spurs and Premier League experience with Leicester, etc. And he ran the show. Barnaby Williams came on and added more energy to that. Dibaga on the wing was brilliant. He was beating players and running down the wing. He lacked a bit of end product, but he's only 19. And yeah, he was the one that won the free kick. Ryan Manning whips a free kick on. Patterson Daka flicks it the wrong way, and there is James Bree, our cup specialist, to head it in at the back post. Which then linked to me looking at my 8-year-old daughter celebrating a goal like we do.
Good.
Yeah.
Lots of swearing.
Well, she wasn't quite swearing. Her mum could be watching this. She definitely isn't. And yeah, it was. I've seen a few comments. It was good to see the kids finish. So we finished off the game with, apart from the back five, with a load of kids on the pitch. And it was, Finazaz as well. Finazaz added a bit of composure to it, but it was fantastic. But everyone, apart from Cameron Archer yesterday, I thought had a good game. No one was rubbish. There was moments, and it was two teams that have changed the teams a lot. It was quite scrappy. It's quite horrible. It's amazing to see how rattled Leicester City fans are that we've beaten them 3 times this year. I believe the main thing from their social media team and other people were that they were robbed, because the goal was offside, but it was a Leicester player that flicked it on. So, I just need to explain it to them. And yeah, brilliant. And James Bree wasn't even supposed to be on the pitch because the alert went down with cramp, so came off with cramp.
Yeah.
And so he came on and he just added a bit more physicality, and yeah, brilliant, fantastic. And like I said, it was a big moment. Tonda said in the press conference yesterday, it was a big moment for the football club in terms of the academy, etc. And I have to agree with him. I think that there was a few moments in the 90th minute of normal time. Joshua Karshi made a couple of clearances off the line because Long sort of flapped at a corner, it was a horrible corner. But it's just one of those flipping horrible cup games. The stadium was half empty. It was flipping cold. I mean, I will admit, I think Becky was with Ian and she was kind of getting annoyed that Leicester weren't taking advantage of the chances they had in the 89th minute because she wanted to get home and watch. I think she wanted to get home and watch Gladiators, mate, to be fair.
Fair.
She loves the Gladiators.
Yeah, of course.
She was all for it. It was all she was talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
But come away 2-1 winners. Great experience for the kids. And I think there's a lot of questions you said about Tonda having this problem in centre midfield. He had a good performance from Romeo yesterday. He had a great performance from Cameron Bragg. Barnaby Williams came on and looked absolutely solid and was dribbling past players and driving forward. And now suddenly he's got potentially 6 to pick from.
That's a nice problem to have.
Yep.
to be fair. And what he needs to not do is he needs to not try and cram every single one of them into the lineup, because it's not. We had this problem with England teams in the past and what have you. You know, we need to make sure that we're playing the best two, and that's the best partnership as well.
There you go. Becca says she was bloody freezing.
But it's a nice problem to have, right?
It was a very good problem to have. And it was good to see Samadozi looked like with Samadozi we know. He was good and direct. Madsky was neat and tidy on the wing.
Again, I think it was going to help for confidence for a lot of these fringe players, which is good. Really, really good.
This Debaga, I'd never heard of him before, but he came on and he was beating players that were, you know, just talking 400 games experience. He was beating them like they were toast. It was absolutely brilliant to see. Really good confidence going forward. And he started off a bit. First he did when he came on was gave a free kick away. But it was a solid performance. And Leicester fans were, I think the main reason they rattled it is because they finished with their first team out, and we finished with our kids out, and they were like, hang on a minute, we've still lost. Which just shows to show what happens when your luck's down.
Yeah, I mean their luck's down, but they're also quite poorly managed at the moment, aren't they, in general?
Very much so.
Yeah, there you go. 2 wins from 2, 3 points in the league, and progression in the FA Cup, which I'm not necessarily the happiest about, but I am also extremely happy that on social media we can say to Leicester fans, played you 3 times, beat you fucking 3 times. And you threw a 3-goal lead away, you lunatics. I'm going to divert attention ever so slightly, ever so briefly, because people are asking about it in chat. And I'm sorry, I'm going to hijack it.
Good.
Very
quickly.
Get
the splinter out whilst you're doing that.
Well, I'm not going to be long.
Well, I'm not going to be very quick long either.
Where are you going to get your splinter out?
I'm going to put some water on it. Give me a second.
Okay. People have been asking about this business I talked about, and I realised I said it, and a lot of you won't have the context. So, I run another channel, a main channel, which is focusing on a tabletop war game, specifically called Warhammer 40,000, made by a company called Games Workshop. And that's been my job for a few years, that channel. I have staff. This is where this studio comes from. What we've also been doing for the past 4 years is building a business that is a physical space and a physical venue for people to come and visit so they can come and play their favourite war games. And that's what I've been doing. And we launched it on Friday. It has premium vibe and feel. There's plenty of space. There's a sort of small cafe area. You can come and buy nice coffee. So even if you guys aren't war gamers and you're not interested in wargaming, you can come and visit us and you can have a premium artisanal coffee or one of our signature milkshakes, which have gone down an absolute storm this weekend. And if you turn up and be like, I'm a Saints Network member, I might even give you some discount just to be nice. So it's called Hobby House. It's here. It's the same place we are now. So it's in a building called Amplevine House, which is off of a road called Duke's Road. You can also access it via Empress Road into the rear car park next to an electrical distributor called Dansac. And we did our trial weekend this weekend. So we opened Friday for the first time, opened yesterday, opened today, invite only. Hence I've done 40 hours in 3 days. And it's been incredibly well received. There's amazing Google reviews already, which is insane, which is better than I could have hoped, despite the fact this weekend was only invite only. We've now shut the doors, and we're shut the doors now until the 27th of February, because we're going to test. We've tested. We're now adjusting. We're adjusting some processes. You know, we're changing some workflow, etc. And then on the 27th of February, we'll be opening in our normal opening hours, which are restricted to start with, but it's what we can do with the staff we have. And hopefully in the future, we'll be open for 7 days plus. Because at the moment, we're doing 4 till 10, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 till 10 Saturday, 10 till 6 on Sunday. In the future, we'll be open Monday, Tuesday evenings as well. We also
put a link in the Discord.
We also have a TV license and a PRS license. And I think I need one more license and I can show football in the venue.
So they're asking us to put a link in the Discord. You can do that.
Yeah. Can I get a wheelchair in the cafe? Yes, you can. We are wheelchair accessible. We have a disabled toilet. We have wheelchair space. Absolutely, we can. I'll put a link in Discord. I will for the Google pin. We haven't got the website's not up and running yet. It's hobbyhouse.com. You can sign up to a mailing list for it right now. The website will open in the future. But for most of you who aren't wargamers, I think it's worth coming for one of our coffees or our shakes. Our coffees are, I'll say this, you won't know, they're exceptional.
The shakes are good. I had a little bit of the kids one yesterday.
We've bought speciality grade coffee, and I've done a significant amount of research and spent a significant amount of money on our coffee machine.
Good place to get a coffee before the game on Saturday.
It is walking distance to the stadium.
Not this Saturday, but
yeah.
Couple of weeks.
Anyway, so yeah,
sorry.
If you are one of the YouTube people from my main channel, there is content coming out about the venue. Sorry, Ash needed to do a splinter. I was going to take that
It
as
really
a sales
hurt.
pitch.
I don't know where I got it from. It's massive. It was massive.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's what you call massive. I see. Ian, today we had an individual in to do our fire risk assessment, which we needed to do before we could apply for our premises license. So we will be applying for a premises license. I do believe we'll get a premises license because I'm a personal license holder. My general manager is a personal license holder.
Me too.
You're not on staff for me though, so I don't think you'll be my designated
I
person. So we will be selling beer and ciders. It'll be bottled because we've just got fridges. We haven't got taps, but we will be selling beer and ciders in the near future. Where in Southampton is it? Beavers Valley kind of area. It's by Monkey Business, if you know that.
By St Denny's train
By
station.
the Hobbit pub, if you know that. It's that kind of area, right? Cool. Okay. Right. Anyway, so 2 games, 2 wins. Off of the hobby stuff now. I've done my sales pitch just because I'm fucking really proud of this weekend. It was amazing. On to back to football. 2 wins, cup win, league win. Transfer news. Jamie Jones signs on a short-term contract to cover Alex McCarthy, who needs surgery on a wrist injury.
Yep. So I was pretty much guaranteed that had he have been fit, Alex McCarthy would have played yesterday, but obviously George Long did. No issues there. Depending on who we get in the next round, I'd be very surprised if George Long plays that game. But yeah, they've signed in Jamie Jones. He's got experience. He's played, I think the highest he's done is like 36 games at championship level. It's very specifically done, because I know there's some argument in Discord about this from some numpties who couldn't understand why Tundra was saying. I'm not saying I agree with it, but Tundra said the reason they've signed him is so that he can be part of the goalkeeping trio, so that it allows the academy goalkeepers to carry on playing rather than just do the warm-ups and sit on the bench. So they can carry on playing in the academy, Dylan Moody, etc., rather than coming up, because it's a lot harder for a goalkeeper to break into a first team. And let's be honest, if Dylan Moody had gone straight in and goal and had an absolute mare, it would have broken him. It happened with Harry Lewis years ago when he was put in against Arsenal in the cup game. I think we lost 5-1, 5-0 or something. So it allows the academy goalkeepers to carry on playing football without getting part of that trio. They always wanted to trade a player. This guy's on a very low wage. He's going to be here until the end of the season. No one's going to see him. He's never going to play.
It's cover.
Just cover.
Yeah, which is a panic if Peretz gets injured, but otherwise it's just cover. I'm talking about cover. Mads Royslev, he requires surgery now, so his season's done. The thing is, right, I don't dislike Mads Royslev for reference. But although we've written that his season's over, at this point, do we care? Because I think with James Bree and Elias Ulert, I don't see how Mads gets in the team, if I'm honest with you.
I think I like Royslev. I think he would have been the perfect person to play as part of the back four. Obviously, Ulert is probably going to go back. Whether we take the option to Barm or not, I'd like to think we potentially would do. But James Bree has come back and made that position his own. Ulert was brilliant yesterday. He was superb. He did everything you wanted him to do. James Bree just gave it that little bit more physicality, and obviously has got a goal in him. Royslev, so it's an Achilles that he's had issues with, and it's Achilles that he's having surgery on. Again, it will depend what league we're in next year. And we can have that conversation now because we can.
I mean, there is absolutely the chance at the moment of, and let's talk about this for a very brief moment, there is absolutely the chance at the moment that we could make a surge into the playoffs. I'm really struggling to decide whether I think that is or isn't something that we should be looking for. Now, obviously, the club is going to look to go into the playoffs. The club is going to want to finish in the highest possible league position it can. And if it can make it through the playoff final into the Premier League again, purely from a financial perspective, they're going to want to do that. So that's out of question, right? However, do we think at this point that's a smart move for the club in the long term? It's a very hard one for me to gauge.
I'm just going to address something in chat. Alan has said, why was James Bree getting booed? He wasn't booed. They were shouting his name. Bree. That's what they were doing. It's the thing. Like when Joe Root scores 100 at cricket and they'll go, Roo, and it sounds like booing him. They weren't booing him. They were just saying his name. This is the problem, right? So if we sat around, so we've got 140 people in chat right now. If we said to everyone, we could have another day at Wembley this year and win another Wembley final.
I'm taking it.
It's hard because you want to be in the... You don't want to be in the Premier League, but the club will want to be in the Premier League, and obviously the champion's been different. Look, it's never a perfect time to go up. You're going to struggle whenever you're doing it. You need to invest that money right. I think if we did go up, we'd need a lot more investment. I also don't think we've got a lot of assets that we potentially would sell off in terms of going up. if we went up, last year at the end of the season, regardless of what happens, at the moment the only contracted striker we've got at the end of the year is Cameron Archer and Damien Downs.
Yeah.
So,
although we have got option to buy Larin if he proves to be decent,
and obviously Ross Stewart's contract is up at the end of the year. And there's a discussion. We're not going to have that discussion today because we've been here long enough already. But there's a discussion around Ross Stewart. The first question is going to be: are we going to get into the playoffs? So we are a couple of points off. I saw someone say that Bristol City and Wrexham have got a game in hand. They have. It's against each other. So potentially that gap becomes 3 points or whatever. We just need to carry on winning and look after our own interest. If we get into the Premier League again, then we're one of the 23 richest clubs in the country, which is exactly where you want to be.
Of course, yeah.
The problem is we could say, oh, we wait till next year and do whatever, but we don't know if it's going to happen next year. And I know.
Well, I think if fans are honest as well, you know, if we go up, if we manage to get to the playoffs this season and we manage to go up through that final, there is every possibility if the owners get the purchasing right with people like Johannes Spores in the right spot, and they get it right, we end up doing a Sunderland, and every fan wants to see that.
Not just Sunderland. Look at Leeds. Leeds didn't sign any youngsters; they signed pure experienced players.
Everybody wants to see their club competing in that league, and if we can do a Sunderland or a Leeds, then I think every single one of us is going to go, yeah, we should do that. Yeah. And I think the squad is now stronger than it was last time we went up, actually. We've had a shaky season, granted, but I think we're in a stronger place. We'll see. What's interesting is that the English Football League clubs are in fact set to vote to extend the playoffs from 4 teams to 6 teams.
I'm not sure. I think they might have already voted and approved it, to be fair.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It's another money-making scam, isn't it? So what they're proposing is that whoever finishes third and correct me, chat, if I get this wrong.
Third and fourth play each other as a semi.
No, see, that's not what I read. I read that you will have 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th will play. So 8th will play 5th, and 6th will play 7th in a one-off game at the venue of the team that finishes the highest. And then it goes into the normal playoffs after that.
Yeah, then you get 2 teams from there and 2 teams from there. They play off, and
it's like that. Look, it's one of those things that you look at the Football League now. So if you look at the game right now, as in the league, right now, even teams as far down as Leicester, for example, they've no chance of the playoffs like Leicester now, and I know they're in the relegation zone. So it was a horrible day for them yesterday. It brings more teams into it. It keeps the season alive more. It potentially means that teams like us that have come down, if we'd have lost an extra couple of games, we could have gone, don't matter, we just have to have a good run toward the end of the season and sneak in at 8th. It potentially makes it a bit more exciting, and I'm all for the playoffs. I fucking love the playoffs. I really do. I absolutely love the playoffs. I love them. They're amazing. My wife gets annoyed because they're on every night.
But my point is though, right? I agree with you. I love the playoffs, but I love them in their current form. I don't think it needs to change. I think that if you look at where we are at the moment this season with the teams that have the potential to be into the playoffs and how close they are between the playoffs and relegation zones, the league is already perfectly exciting. I don't think it needs changing. And it's one of those things where I firmly believe that this is one of those things where it ain't broke, so don't fix it. The only reason why they're trying to fix it is generating more revenue.
I am my own personal opinion, and I'm with Gartz on this, I think it's a bad idea.
I agree.
I think they need to fix things at the moment like National League, where there's only like one promotional place, etc. The playoffs keep the league exciting and give it a bit more to play for, and the playoffs is a bit of a lottery and it adds to this spectacle. And I know there's people out there that don't agree with it. Like Yeston said, league position is earned, etc. But I love the playoffs.
I'm a Gallagher Premiership rugby fan, and you can finish top of the league and not win. So you can be top of the league all season, go on mighty Buff, and then at the end of the season play in a final and lose.
You're not top though, are you?
Well, we're there, near enough.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying, though? You can be top of the league for most of the season. You can go into the final at Twickenham, the Gallagher Premiership final, and you can lose the final after being top all season.
It'll be teams that have been in and around the playoffs that, sort of finish in 7th and 8th every year. You haven't quite got the legs or suddenly sneak into a playoff game.
Here's the other thing as well, which Mark has alluded to, which I don't entirely disagree with. Imagine if you come 8th and nail yourself into the Premiership, you get lucky because it's cup games at that point. You'll get annihilated.
Not necessarily.
I mean, I think for the most part, I'd agree with you, but I think that it firmly depends on what people do. That point in which you get promoted to that point in which you play that first Premier League game, very much depends on how the club acts, what they do, where they invest, what they bring in.
Make no mistake, Sunderland, although they've been the best promoted team this year, when they went up, everyone was like, well, they'll come straight back down because they snuck into the playoffs. So it all depends on how you invest your cash. You've got to invest your cash wisely and you've got to do things wisely.
So, in the wider Football League as well, then Mansfield in the Cup went to Burnley and won.
I think it was one of the only cup shocks, but yeah.
Yeah, and the Skates lost. This was a cup game as well, wasn't it? Last match.
No.
Oh,
it's a league game.
Oh.
It's a league game. They lost so Skate Watch, they lost in the last minute to a Sheffield United winner. And again, they were horrendously rattled. So if you look at the bottom of the championship table now, it's very, very interesting because Sheffield Wednesday, we know, are down and out. They can be relegated next Sunday away at Sheffield United.
Oh, really? That early?
Yes.
Oh, dear. I mean, they have a huge point.
And the team that can relegate them is Sheffield United. Awkward. Sorry, Nick. Oxford are down there. They're beginning to fall away a bit, but they are still picking up some results. Leicester have snuck into that, and I'm going to take the next bit from you. So Leicester have snuck into that because Blackburn beat QPR 3-1. So it's I can't remember his name. Is it Michael Davis? Is in charge of Blackburn now.
Yeah.
I think I've got his name completely wrong, but Stephen Davis is now on the coaching staff there with Phil Jones, who's at Man United. Pompey are now just 1 point above the relegation zone, but they do have 2 games in hand because obviously they have a pitch that cannot work. And West Brom and stuff are down there. So in terms of championship football, there have been some games. Derby beat Swansea, and there was a win. Obviously, Middlesbrough didn't play. Middlesbrough play Coventry tomorrow night. Mill won at Hillsborough, but Michael O'Neill, thank you, Henry. But Sheffield Wednesday scored their first goal since Boxing Day. Jamal Lowe scored. And if you can, it's one of those, you hear the crowd and you can hear the relief. We scored a goal. And then, yeah, that's it for the championship. Well, not many championship games this year, obviously, this week because
of course. So looking ahead on Saturday, we are hosting him. So Saturday's game is at home to Charlton Athletic and the return of Nathan Jones. Now, for me, the form of the club going into this game has been quite important. Sometimes there's a little part of me that some people were saying in chat earlier that I'd rather see Leicester get relegated than Pompey. I'd arguably agree because if we don't go up and Pompey don't go down, we get a couple more South Coast derbies, and I'm all for that. There is a little part of me that kind of wants to beat Nathan, and I mean little, to be fair, so don't jump on my back here, that wants to beat Nathan Jones more than I want to beat the Skates. Because I've burning hatred for that man.
I am going to make a little bit of a plea here to a degree. So the last few times we've had managers leave us and they've come back, and I'm going to quote Mauricio Pochettino, and I'm going to quote Ronald Koeman, and I'm going to quote especially Harry Redknapp when we were down in the Championship before. The game on Saturday is important, but it's important that we play the game and not the occasion.
Agreed.
Because the crowd will get so much into the idea of abusing Nathan Jones. And do you know what? If we're 2 or 3-0 up, 1-0 up, abuse him, I don't care. The problem we have is that we've obviously had Fat Frank be a bellend at St Mary's this year. And those people, chat will let us know if they've seen it. Let us know, guys. You saw it. When Charlton beat Stoke in the week, and Nathan Jones decides to give it big one to the Stoke fans because obviously he used to manage Stoke, and he failed there like he did here. And he was absolutely not. But he also tried to square up to, Mark said it there, he also tried to square up to a Stoke player. It's just absolutely hilarious. And obviously we know Nathan Jones loves to be theatrical for the cameras. So my concern is that the crowd are going to be so much on bellowing Nathan Jones rather than supporting the team, that the team will crumble because we are in very, very good form, and that form has to end at some point. I'd almost forget, it's not going to happen, but I'd almost forget about abusing Nathan Jones until the points are in the bag. Because if they get even just a point down here, he is going to be giving it like hell.
Oh, of course he is. And I agree with you entirely. I just really want to beat him again. I really want to beat him again because I just think he's an absolute knob.
Oh, he's an absolute wanker.
Yeah.
Absolute wanker.
Do you see us beating? So if we look ahead at Charlton, do you see us beating them? I'd imagine we'll go back to a similar to starting lineup as we've seen in the last few games. I can't see. This
is interesting. So it was interesting when Ton did his press conference for the Cup game because he said that certain players had been dosed off on painkillers. So Flynn Downs was dosed off on painkillers for the game against Watford, ran 12.5k. Wellington and Stevens, he's hoping are back for the weekend, so potentially there could be changes there. Having said that, in terms of where we saw yesterday, on the lost day. Yeah, in terms of where we lost yesterday, I don't necessarily have an issue if some of those players are going to come back in. I'd rather see Kwashi at centre back instead of Nathan Wood.
Agree.
Ryan Manning was captain yesterday. He didn't have his best first half, but was better in the second half, and obviously set up the winner as he does. I would assume the team would go back to similar. I potentially would assume that Ross Stewart will start up front. A lot of the players potentially could have forced themselves onto the bench. Sam Adoz will be on the bench. Cody Matsky will be on the bench. You would assume that Tom Fellows would potentially come back in. Depends whether Tonda was. I mean, I would stick with the same. I would go back with Peretz to back four if you can do. Downs. The only change that I would argue needs to be made is you give Caspiander a break. He needs a break.
Yeah, he was bad on Tuesday, but he's been one of my favourite purchases this season, if I'm honest. I think said this on the show a lot. I've been an advocate for Caspiander. I think because he doesn't get goals and create magic and beat players, people don't go, he's amazing like they do for Cienza, for example, or Fellows. But I actually think Yander has been one of our most solid players. And if you watch his play, it's so clever, it's so tidy. I think he's brilliant.
I think he's just run out of a bit of steam. You have to remember he's played on the continent all the time where there's been winter breaks and winter breaks and winter breaks. He's not had that. He's a young lad. The Championship is so much more physical than any other league in terms of world football. So he needs to. I would potentially bring Shea Charles back in or Cameron Bragg back in. It depends obviously on fitness levels. But the issue we're going to have, Charlton are a team that like to hit on the counter-attack and they like to give the other team the ball. Now, Nathan Jones got it completely wrong up at the Valley, as we are all aware, because of what happened. I think they're going to sit a low block and say, break us down. I'm not massively worried about that, considering that we can bring Carl Larin on. He'll just pump one on from the corner, but we need to be patient. Very patient.
Okay. Score prediction. This is for you as well, chat.
Score prediction.
If you put a score prediction in and gift a single membership, there you go. All 130 of you right now.
It'll make Liam happy, considering he's forked out a load of money on the business.
This is my happy face.
That's also the face that gets him banned near most schools. Score prediction, I am going to go for... I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in it. I will go for a 1-0 win again.
I think 2-0. I was going to go 2-0, I'll be honest.
It would be good to see us keep a clean sheet again.
Yeah, Yeah. Alison says 2-0. Matt says 3-0. Cam says 4-1 Saints. Jarvis says 1-0 Saints. Henry says 2-1 Saints. James Neat says 2-0. Alan says 3-1 to us. Spencer says 3-1 to us. Saints. It's nice seeing the confidence back in Saints fans as well, actually. Honestly, it's nice seeing the confidence back. 3-1 Saints, 3-0 put. Yeah, okay. It's nice seeing this.
2-1 from Jack.
Jack says 2-1. Okay, there you go.
None of the gifted memberships are you aggressive
No, we had a deal and you all broke it. I'm joking. Talking about gifted memberships, we haven't had any of those, but we have had some super chats through. So thank you so much, you wonderful people. I say this every week. We currently run the podcast at a loss. It costs me money to run it because it does. So you guys supporting us financially makes a difference and makes that cost of me to run it not feel quite so bad. So thank you, Buckshot, for the $10. Joe is a legend for the Ash intro. Up the Saints. He paid for the intro. I think he did that whilst he was doing the intro as well. Joe is also over in Hobby House this weekend. What a legend.
Legend.
Toby, thank you for the $5. I thought the Academy lads played well yesterday. I hope to see more of them for the rest of the season. Also, Adozy was class. Fair assessment?
Yeah, look, the Academy lads were all brilliant when they came on. Some of them looked a bit sort of over the place, but it was... None of those Academy lads yesterday can go off the pitch thinking... I didn't play well. I think they all did very well. It was Ayakunle who got fouled for the free kick that got one over, and he was a bit sort of isolated up front. And I did worry when we took Larin off and brought him on that we lost that focal point up top.
Yeah.
But the lads just had energy. And do you know what? If we go into Saturday and Sam Adozi's on the bench, but then Debarga's on the bench and bring him, I just think they just played with no fear. And maybe it's because Tonda's had that experience with those.
Yeah.
But even at the end of it, when Debarga was obviously the youngest one, he's been nowhere near the first team all year. He was the one that was thrown forward to do the fist punches to the crowd and all that sort of stuff. It was just brilliant to see. So yeah, I think he's right. They absolutely held their heads high.
Thank you so much, Jimmy Cheese, for the $2. He popped in quickly. So just a flying by visit. He's normally a bit more active in the chat. Thank you for the $2. He just says much love. What a legend. Now, Aaron sent us £1. Didn't make a comment, just sent us £1.
Thanks, Aaron.
I'll take that like you've just tucked $1 into my G-string. Then Mossad has gifted a single Saints Network membership. Thank you so much. You're an absolute hero. If you got given that membership, you can now get yourself, Mike, you can get yourself in Discord and see there's
You can get your Discord anyway. It is free, guys.
Discord is free. It's just more space if you remember. Garcy sent us £2 and said, all I've heard this season everywhere, low block, ?
It's the same as it's fucking football phrasing, like high press. It's just chasing down.
So what's a low block, Ash? Explain a low block to people in chat.
Low block is just sitting deep,
sitting really deep and sitting there and blocking. So you don't attack. You sit deep, and counter. Typically.
And the issue is with teams that do it is they want the counter attack with the fast man up front. But when we do it, we've got Cameron Archer up front.
Yeah.
And he couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. So.
No. Yeah. One half for Shrek and Donkey. And then thank you, Ian, for the $10. He says just up the Saints.
I love Ian. Oh,
okay, done. There, thank you very much.
I love Ian. That'll do. It's just it. Done. Park the bus, Cameron. Thank you. Yes, that's the low block. Park the bus.
Park the bus is low block, essentially.
Park the bus.
They're the same thing, right? Essentially the same thing. But you are right. Every fucking year we get these new trendy phrases that someone's come up with somewhere on probably social media.
Inverted wingers.
Yeah. Oh, fuck off. Anyway, you guys have been incredible. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have watched it on demand or you're listening on the podcast, feel free to drop comments on the comment section of YouTube specifically. Ash reads all of them and replies to every single one pretty much. Unless you're rude and he sends it to me to deal with. So thank you wonderful human beings. Thank you for 60 likes, 134 people watching, which means less than 50% liked it.
We obviously weren't that good.
Most people think it's shit.
Maybe
but we'll keep doing it because we enjoy it and we think it's fun. Obviously, this Saturday we are playing at home to Charlton. So we will be live at 8 p.m. next Sunday with the next instalment of the Saints Network podcast. As always, you guys are incredible. Thank you for the interaction in chat. It means the world to us. We have the chat up on the big screen in front of us so we can see what you guys are saying. And it's just nice to be able to be positive a few weeks in a row. So, that's good, isn't it?
Back to doom and gloom next weekend?
Maybe. At some point soon, the bubble will burst a little.
I'm going to the next 4 games.
Oh, yeah, you're off for Sheffield Wednesday as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
With your 2 kids.
Yeah.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
That's why I took Dad.
All right, you'll go with your 3 kids.
They'll already do weed quick enough, yeah.
Yeah, well, he won't. He just changes his bag. Right, so you guys are amazing. We will see you next Saturday at 8 o'clock. Ash, before we disappear, have you got a rallying cry for the people of the channel?
Nathan Jones is a wanker. Up the Saints.
Up the Saints. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.